For our last Ignite talk, we have two presenters from the University of Utah. Karen Paisley earned her undergraduate degree in finance at American University in Washington, D.C. after working in the corporate center and a brief recovery period, working in adventure education. Dr. Paisley returned to youth development and pursued both her MS and PhD at Clemson University. She joined the faculty at the University of Utah immediately thereafter and has been there for 25 years, where she has received college, university, and national level recognition as a teacher and experiential educator. After earning tenure, Karen had various administrative roles: Associate Dean for Faculty and Academic Affairs in the College of Health, Special Assistant to the President, and NCAA Faculty Athletics Representative, and President of her National Professional Society. Since 2022, Karen has served as the Vice President for Academic Affairs and a Senior Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies, where, working with colleagues as a team, she strives to tilt barriers to student success. Lindsay Coco serves as the University Innovation Alliance Fellow and Special Assistant to the Vice Provost for Student Success at the University of Utah. Dr. Coco's own educational journey, which she began in rural Louisiana, drives her commitment to improving academic outcomes for every student. At Utah, she strategically leads cross-functional groups working to enhance student success and improve retention, persistence, and graduation rates. Her work is primarily focused on positive change processes in institutional academic structures, systems, and policies, and she also provides expertise on topics such as process mapping, design thinking, and emotional intelligence to various campus teams. Her previous professional experience includes a wide variety of functional areas such as campus life, international education, and teaching and learning at several U.S. institutions, as well as numerous years working abroad for the Qatar Foundation in Doha, Qatar. Lindsay earned her bachelor's in economics and international studies and master's in educational administration from Texas A&M University and a PhD in higher education from the Louise McBee Institute of Higher Education at the University of Georgia. Please.
Thanks. Good morning, y'all. Lindsay and I are actually channeling Chase Haygood today, who couldn't be here. He's on campus with our accreditors. So I think, right, so we're having more fun. He's our Vice Provost for Student Success. So as was in there, I've been at the U for 25 years. Of course, I started when I was 12, and until recently, we weren't just siloed. We were what I would call rabidly federated and very, very faculty-centric. Lots of good things were happening all over campus, but there was zero coordination whatsoever and zero accountability whatsoever. We found out at one point, for example, we had almost 20 separate instances of Salesforce across campus, right? So rather than fixing systems and structures and processes, we did workarounds and we did Band-Aids and we counted on relationships, which we've talked about are very, very important. Then we had leadership changes at basically every level of the institution: the president, the provost, the vice provost, the financial aid director, the registrar's office. Many changes in our legislature, for those of y'all who may have been watching the news, and shifting very much to focus on metrics and outcome metrics, specifically looking at graduation rates, persistence rates, and those things. And so our first aha moment was, we need a culture shift. We have got to shift away from where we have been to getting toward a student-centric campus. And so for the first time ever on our campus, and y'all may have this, we have actually articulated a student success strategy for the U, which we call Navigate U, and these are the core pillars. The vision behind Navigate U was an inclusive goal that every single office and every single person on campus could see a contribution in one or more of these areas, so they can see themselves and be present in that. Faculty, staff, students, everyone, with a focus on getting students to the U, through the U, and beyond the U, having had an exceptional educational experience. And the mechanism through which we do this that also shifts accountability to a college level and dean level, which accountability is still new for us, are the Activate projects, which Lindsay's going to talk about.
Thanks, Karen. So as Karen mentioned, we have this wonderful framework, and it looks great. We're really excited about it, and then we think, how are we going to enact this? How are we going to get all of campus on board with the strategy, and what are we actually going to do on the ground to contribute to this strategy and move the needle on student success. So another aha moment for us was kind of thinking through that and figuring out how are we going to make this work. So out of that thinking came what we call our Activate projects. And I want to talk a little bit about what the Activate group is and how it is built and constructed and kind of what that framework looks like. So one of the things with the change in leadership that came on campus is a provost who was very much interested in the work that was going on in the schools and colleges and empowering the deans to have responsibility for student success within their schools and colleges. So the Navigate framework that Karen introduced is really a shared responsibility model, and a lot of the responsibility is placed on the deans in the schools and colleges to enact that work. So functionally, what that looks like with the Activate projects is the associate deans for academic affairs, the leads for academic advising in each of the schools and colleges, and other key kind of central unit folks across campus were charged with how to enact the framework and being part of these Activate projects. So there are kind of 4 pieces that were keys for us and kind of aha moments with figuring out what is this going to look like. The first for us, and some of these sound really easy, and in practice they have not been so easy. The first one of those is consistency. So we have a group, our Activate group, that meets every week, same time, same place, online, and it's a group of anywhere between 40 to 60 people who attend that meeting every week. And every week we're going over one of these projects or getting new projects up in the queue and having discussions and actually having a game plan for what that looks like. The format of that has been really impactful for us. We have one-pagers on all of these projects that has the action steps that all of the units are going to take to kind of push the needle and move us forward on whatever the project is. And we have lots of really robust conversation. Some weeks it's more robust than others with, kind of folks differing opinions on the actual strategy that we're going to take on a particular topic. And we use those meetings to get the workflow sorted out with what that is going to look like. So the consistency and format have been key for us to be able to move this framework forward. The third piece is data democratization across campus. Karen mentioned that we are a rapidly federated campus. We had been, and we're working on cultural shifts with that. And that means that data has not been accessible broadly across campus in certain areas. There may have been one area of campus that had access to one pocket of data, but the rest of campus didn't have access to it. So everything that we've been doing with the Navigate U framework and the Activate projects has included just opening up data within federal regulations and privacy regulations and things like that, but opening it up for key stakeholders to see what is actually going on. And that's something that we had not had before. And then the fourth piece of it has been transparency in the conversations. And we have created an environment online where people can come in and say, I really disagree with how we're doing this, or I have support for this. And we talk through that and we collectively figure out a way forward. There's lots of transparency in saying, well, this is why we had to move forward this way. It's kind of opening the curtain on the decision-making process from whatever the decision has been from the president and provost, kind of moving through down to the folks who are on the front lines with students, and that has been really key for us as well. So those are kind of 4 things that we've had to put in place to make this work. I want to talk about 2 of the examples up here of our Activate projects. The first one is tackling high DEWI courses. We use an E grade instead of an F grade at Utah, so we call these DEWI courses, which for me took some getting used to using the E grade. But we had just kind of a much higher DEWI rate on a lot of courses than we would want to see for student success at the institution. And there had been no systematic effort to undertake effort to reduce those DUI rates. And certainly academic departments and specific offices had been working on some key things, but it was, again, pockets across campus. So through the Activate project, our Center for Teaching Excellence partnered with schools and colleges and department chairs, and we began a whole campus kind of redesign of a number of courses that we knew we needed to get the DUI rate down to be able to do that, to have for students to be able to progress through their degrees like we wanted to. So currently, and that started, I should have mentioned that our Activate project started in July 2024. So we're, first year of doing this with all of the projects that we're working on. But we have about 20 courses that went under course redesign in the fall, with a lot more in the queue, and those redesigns are being taught currently in this semester. So we're eagerly awaiting the end of spring to see what the data looks like for those courses. Our director for Center for Teaching Excellence tells me that things are looking good, and everyone's kind of excited to see how that works. So we're hoping that some curricular efforts in that space will be a benefit to students. And then the other project I'll talk about is innovating course fill rates and monitoring thresholds. Before we started this project at the University of Utah, we did not have a course threshold for whether a course would make or not. So we put some guidelines in place for that threshold to really try to allocate resources efficiently and effectively, and try to place classes where students really needed them and combine those resources. So we started monitoring that in fall, and that has been a game changer for us too, with what the data is looking like, with how departments have been able to combine course sections and kind of rethink course offerings in some areas to be able to allow a broader pathway for students to get through their degree program in a way that makes sense for curricular pathways. So those are just highlighting two. If you're interested in learning more about Navigate U or Activate projects, you can visit this QR code, and we will also have a poster at the poster session this afternoon. So thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks so much. And as they were saying, they're available at the poster session. We encourage you to continue conversations with all of the Ignite Talk presenters to learn more about their programs.